I will get started because I'm going
Go
to do
for
just
it.
a little bit of housekeeping as people are logging in, settling in. So yeah, as Heidi said, good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you're logging in from. Um, my name is Jess. I'm marketing manager at This Is School. We are collaborating with Heidi on this third of a four-part series of webinars, so we're super excited to get going. For those who aren't familiar with This Is School, I'll do a quick introduction. We are an edtech platform, and we celebrate authentic learning opportunities. So we can support you through modern foreign languages. We also have Mandarin and geography as well. I think Heidi's going to take you through one of our main features today, which is obviously speaking, as is the topic of today. But if you want to find out about us, definitely go to thisisschool.com. We offer everybody a 14-day free trial when you start with us as well. And if you sign up, you can start that trial whenever you like. It's not automatic. So you can sign up today, you'll get an email, and then you'll be able to set up a demo with our team and kind of explore all the different things that we could do for you and your students. A little bit of housekeeping. We're running this as a webinar, so everybody's mics and cameras are going to be off. We do that just because we feel like it's easier. It probably means you can log in from wherever you are. You could be walking the dog, you could be having your breakfast, whatever you fancy doing, you can still tune in and take part today. We have two ways you can get involved. We have a chat, which hopefully you will kind of say. I can see lots of familiar names in there already. When you're using the chat, you can also select whether you're going to send your message to everybody, and that means everyone who's taking part, or you can also select just to send it to hosts and panelists as well, just in case you've got any technical questions or any questions about anything that's coming up that maybe you don't want to share with the wider group. We also have a Q&A section built in to Zoom that you can use for your questions, and what we'll do is feel free to ask as we go. I know Heidi's happy to answer things on the spot, and we'll also go through a Q&A. We think we've got 10 to 15 minutes kind of set aside at the end, so we can really dig into any of the topics that you might be interested in exploring more on. We are recording, so you will get this recording and all the resources. Heidi, I'm sure it's going to be another activity and inspiration-packed session, so you will get those resources afterwards. And yeah, absolutely. So everyone will receive it normally by Wednesday. Everyone should get the recording, and we double check that everybody receives it as well. If you have any feedback, if you want to tweet or X, I should say, your thoughts and feelings as we go along, please do find us on social media. And I know Heidi will share her details with you as well. So yeah, I think that's it from me. I'm going to turn my camera off and let Heidi get going, but I will be in the chat, I'll be in the Q&A, and I'll pop on at the end as well to help round everything off. So I hope everybody enjoys.
All right. Thank you so much, Jess. So we're going to jump right in, everybody. And I'm presenting using Canva today. So if you've never presented via Canva, it's another platform you could use. So here we go. All right. Welcome to today's session, which is called Let's Get Them Talking. And as Jess said, I'm Heidi Trude, and this is our third webinar in this series. Next one will be the fourth. Will be next Saturday. So if you want to spend a Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon with me, sign-up details will come out about that one soon. So we're going to dive right in. So bonjour, good morning, hello, good afternoon. So I am Heidi Trude. I teach French at Loudoun Valley High School, which is in Purcellville, Virginia. So not too far from Dulles Airport, if you're familiar with Virginia, and that's pretty much our major international airport. Not too far from Washington, D.C. And I've been teaching French for 16 years, not all 16 at Valley. This is year 5 at Valley. I'm also our department chair there, and I am very involved in languages. I'm the ACTFL 2019 Teacher of the Year finalist. That's a little about me. And I do a lot in the language world as well. If you have questions, you can email me at any time. My email is there on the screen. So heidi.trude@lcps.org is my school email. You can also reach out to me on social media. On Instagram, I am at HLT2007, and I'll drop that in the chat for you all since I forgot to put it up on the slide. Let me just put that in chat. Insta is HLT 2007. And then my X is HTrude07 is for my social media. So if you want to follow me on social, I share a lot there about what's happening in my classrooms, as well as tips and tricks and other things just to help you in the language teaching realm. So feel free to give me a follow, and we're going to dive in and kind of talk about what our agenda is today, how this is all going to work. There we go. Or Canva's going to take us all the way back. Sorry. So our agenda today, there we go, is first we're going to talk about, before we even get into strategies with speaking, we want to talk about our goals. So why do we want our students to be speaking? What are our goals? So we're going to look at target language goals. We're going to look at expectations. So what are our expectations, not just of our students, but we also need to look at our expectations for ourselves before speaking. We're going to look at ways we can encourage our students to speak in our languages. So we're going to talk about some speaking strategies, obviously. And then we're going to do some demoing, which works better in person, but I will show you some ways you can do this, and then I'll take time to answer whatever questions you all may have, whether that's about speaking in target language, whether you want to go back to something from one of the other webinar series that we've gone over so far, because everything you'll see, it's all linked together. And next week is like the bow on top of the present, where it's like we're going to tie it all up, package it nicely, and put that bow on the top of the present. And next week's is really, really fun. So this is the plan for today. And your goals today, just two simple goals, is that I can use a variety of strategies to keep my students speaking in target language. So how do we get them there? How do we get them to use our language? And our second goal will be that I can provide my students with supports and scaffolds to promote target language use. So what can we do as teachers to really make sure that our students are speaking in class and are speaking meaningfully and communicating meaningfully? So hopefully some of these tips and tricks that I do in my classroom with my students are things that you all can easily implement. Some of these are things you can easily start doing on Monday. You could prep them this weekend and bam, you can roll it out the next day. Some of these take a little time to establish. So I'm just going to put that little caveat there that some of this is things that I start at the beginning of the year. So by now we're in almost March and I have my kids all year. So by now, most of them are speaking almost all the time in target language, which is beautiful, but it does take time to set this up to make this work. So just setting that little preface there. So as most of us know, but since some of us are not from the US, I will define ACTFL. So ACTFL is the American Council on the Teaching of Foreign Languages. And ACTFL states that we should be using 90% target language in our classrooms. So whatever language you teach, 90% of your class should be in that language. Now, does that mean your kids are speaking 90% of the time? No. What that means is 90% of your class instruction is in target language, whether that's you, whether that's them, and reading, I'm going to say this, reading also counts. So if they're reading material in the target language, that counts as part of your 90% of the class time. It doesn't always have to be words coming out of their mouth. 90% interaction in target language, whether that's them receiving the input from you, whether that's them giving it back. So we're just looking for that 90% target language usage is our target to get there. Now you're like, whoa, that's a lot, Heidi. Yeah, it is. How do we do it? That's what we're going to dive into, the how, which it's not easy. And let me tell you, when I started way back, I was like, yeah, this is hard. How do you do this? So I'm going to give you some tips, tricks, and some wisdom that I've learned along the way. So what does this actually look like in our classroom? So, oops, that should be taking, and I misspelled that. I'm sorry. I will fix that in a second. So what does it look like in our classrooms? First thing, our students are positively recognized for taking risk. Okay? If they are attempting something in target language, praise them, praise them, praise them. Even if it is not correct, they have made that attempt. Praise them for just even trying. So that might be a high five. That might be a word of affirmation. That could be you giving them a piece of candy. whatever that looks like and what system works in place, not only for you, but also for the student. What I like to do at the beginning of the year is I ask my students in a survey, how do you like to be recognized? Like, how do you like to be celebrated, like praise-wise? Because some of them do not want that attention, like drawn to them. They might like it privately. They might just want it as an email sent to them later. They might want it as a little note. In my district, we use Remind, which is an app that lets us send messages to kids. They may just want a remind message. Some of them might want that high five. So ask your kids, like, how do you like to be praised? Some of them are like, tell my parents. So, like, ask them and then affirm them and celebrate them in whatever way they want. Number two, students encourage one another in a safe environment. So not only are you praising them, but the kids themselves need to feel encouraged, feel supported, and feel that it's a place where they can take risk. Because if it doesn't feel safe, they're not going to be as willing to speak in another language, because to them, it's really scary. They're socially awkward to begin with, a lot of them as high schoolers and middle schoolers, because especially even with the pandemic, that's kind of made it even harder for them to communicate, because as we know, they are glued to their devices. And telling them, have a conversation with someone, they're like, you mean I'm texting? No, you're not texting. You're actually having to talk to another human being. So creating that environment from the start really helps a ton. Okay. Number three, super important. Your tasks are communicative in nature and they mirror real life situations. It's got to be real and relevant to our students, or they're not going to want to get involved with it. So make it real, make your prompts real, make them relevant, okay? Something that they would do, something that mimics real life to them. And finally, make sure that our lessons are scaffolded and we provide supports, whether that's chat mats, we'll talk about those, whether that's word walls, etc. So things are present to increase our student success and engagement, because if they have those little supports, then they can communicate and they can feel successful. And I'm going to show you what all of these look like, how to use these different strategies and tools in your classroom. So if you're like, ooh, what are these things that she's saying right now? Don't worry, I've got you covered. And I'm going to go into all of this in depth with everybody. All right, so again, how does this work? Here we go. Step one, start your class in the target language. So yes, day one, you as the teacher start speaking in, whether that's French, Spanish, German, Mandarin, Italian, whatever language you teach, start with them right away. So you're going to be like, but they're not going to understand. Oh, my friends, you will be surprised. They will understand more than you think if you do it slowly and you incorporate lots of visual supports. So start with the language. What? Yes. They're kind of going to feel this like OMG kind of meaning of like, oh my God, this is what we expect to see. Yes, that deer in the headlights, but we don't want to cause their heads to explode. So we don't want that exploding brain. We want them to kind of be like listening in so intently, but we don't want to overwhelm them at the same time. So it's kind of a delicate balance we've got to do, but you can start on day one in target language, which I do. A very basic intro with my kids, and I'm going to show you what I do in my classroom with them. And then they actually start speaking French on day one. Even as novices, they can do it. So I'm going to show you how this works. So on day one, you set your expectation on the very first day. So you're going to show them that they can understand that language on day one with level appropriate activities. So that is what we're going to do on day one. Okay, so I see I've got a question in here or kind of a comment, Marcia. Okay, they automatically, yeah. But the middle schoolers say, they may say that. However, they do understand you. And what I would encourage you to do is to make sure you have those level appropriate activities and support. So even if they're like, I don't understand, I don't get this, like, ugh, what is this? can't you just talk in English? Yeah, that's student talk. I've had middle schoolers before. I know what they do, I know what they say, but they actually do understand it. So I'm going to show you what I do on day one. So day one, some possible activities you can do. You can do a teacher introduction with images. Introduce yourself to the class with images. So if these are kids you've never had, start with a little intro with images. Talk in the target language. Okay? You could do a this or that activity with images or cognates. Very simple. I will show you one that I use with my students. You could do if they're kids you've had before and you know they can, like if they're level 2s, 3s, 4s, or above, you could do conversation bingo. Find someone who da 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 who traveled to Europe this summer. Find someone who traveled to the United States. Find someone who went to a concert, and then they're going to ask questions in the target language. Did you go to the US? Did you this? Do you like this? And you could mix it up with different tenses for your upper level learners. Conversation bingos are great, and that gets them going in day one. Also, do lots of gestures. Okay, so lots of gestures and commands. Very easy way to keep in target language with novices and to also get them speaking as well. I'm going to show you guys a couple of my favorites. Oh yes, middle schoolers, they know what you're doing. They just like to act like they don't sometimes. All right, so I'm going to show you guys a couple of these that I use, and I'm going to go into my slide back over here, and you will have access to these. You just have to make a copy when you get it. So this is a simple one that I do with my students. Just a who am I? And I do this all in French. Like I've already introduced myself to them. So they know who I am. I've done a slide before introducing myself, and we're going to do a simple vrai ou faux, true or false activity. Okay, I ask them because they know my name. And I'll do this in English just because I know not all of us are French, but it says, my name is Heidi Trude. And then I would ask them, class, is this true or false in the target language? And they would all tell me false. And then we would say it in French, my name is, and we do it in French. Okay, and they know I am American. And they would be like, ah, c'est vrai, yes, it's true. I am American. And I tell them, I'm 68 years old. And they're going to tell me, no. Hopefully they're going to say no. You never know. They're high school kids. They're sometimes interesting. And then they'd be like, no, it's false. And then I tell them how old I am. And then they're like, oh, okay. But then you can just go through different adjectives, things about yourself that you've shared with them. And then what I do at the end is we go through and now we do almost a write and discuss with them. So they see this whole paragraph as first years and they're in their little groups. They're talking on day one in the language and they are fixing the mistakes that we've gone through from this little game. And they can do this on day one. And then they feel so accomplished. So they would go through, correct the mistakes. We go through it as a class. So that's one way I can introduce myself with them. Another way, and let's get the Zoom bar out. There we go. This one is really fun and interactive. This is a this or that activity. And instead of asking them what they like, I ask them, what do they think I like in the target language? And they're actually up and moving. So does Madame prefer chocolate or candy? If you think I prefer chocolate, le chocolat, I tell them to go to like the right side of the room. If they think I prefer candies, les bonbons, then they go to the left side. And then I'm going to ask them in the target language, do you like chocolate or candy based on where they're standing? And then I will teach them the actions and I do gestures as well. So like I like j'aime. I don't like je n'aime pas. So they're telling me, oh, j'aime le chocolat, j'aime les bonbons. And then I teach them the rejoinder, me too, moi aussi, me too. So then they can look at each other and be like, me too. And then they're communicating. And we just go through these different ones like cat or dog, ice cream or coffee, video games or board games, fruits or veggies. Do I prefer the ocean or the mountains? Do I prefer lacrosse or hockey? Tea or coffee? That one's like a giveaway. They all, even on day one, they all know it's coffee because I have my coffee mug literally there, like on my desk. They see it. So, but you can go through these and then you can do it with them. Class, do you like this or that? So that is a lot of fun to really help them and get them talking. So I'm going to take us back to our show. Let's get us back. We were, yep, right there. Go back. There we go. So that's that one. Okay, buy-in is they're not going to start talking until they buy in to understanding and learning language. It is so important to get their feedback, and not only their feedback, but get them to understand the language acquisition. Because if they don't understand the why and the how of what we do, it's really hard for them to be willing to take those risks and do things. So tell them why and how we learn languages. Also, share your own language journey with them at the start of class, like at the start of the year. Like, how did you learn the language you speak? Is it your native language? Did you learn it in school just like them? So tell them a little of your language story. Also, share about the actual proficiency levels and what that looks like and how it's different for each learner, how everyone kind of learns language at a different rate. So that is something that I found. It's a strategy I use with all my classes. And I've linked here a lesson from Profe Delgadillo that shows you how you can teach your learners what proficiency is, what language learning is, and how it looks. And you can look at that at your own time, but getting them to really understand how they learn and acquire a language goes a long way so they kind of understand, and also their parents understand what it's like and what it's not like. So their parent doesn't expect them on day one to already be speaking fluently, or that they don't expect by the end of their first year that their kid will be fluent. It's like, no, it's not going to happen that way. It takes time to acquire. So having everybody on board and understanding that is really, really important. So that's there, and that's a great resource. Let me see. Yeah, Marcia, no problem. So with that, the this or that, I use that in my novice classes. That's not something I would use with an AP class. But if you wanted to go deeper with it, you could ask them simple level, what I call level up questions. Okay, like you could ask them, why? Do you prefer this or this? I prefer this because is da da da. Is chocolate better than candy? It is better than because da da da. So you can easily ask for more details to take it to the next level. So it doesn't have to be just as specific as yes or no. But again, I use this with novices, but taking it to other levels, absolutely. Add what I call level ups, which next week is all about leveling up our language. And that I will go into way more strategies of how we go deeper, how we can ask them to push themselves to get more. So that's just a quick answer for now. So I'm going to take us forward. There we go. Let's go. Or not. Okay, it went backwards. Sorry. All right, so that is the buy-in. Whoops, accountability. Okay, so accountability is also important here. So once we get the buy-in from them of understanding how we acquire language and why we do the things the way we do, not just because I tell them, we need that accountability. First, for individual accountability, so each individual student and yourself. The group, so if they're going to be working in groups, they need group accountability to keep each other in the language. We need class accountability. And then obviously you yourself as the teacher, you're going to hold yourself accountable for staying in the language, keeping it comprehensible and understanding so the kids know what you're talking about. they can understand you and react as well. So again, it's everybody. We're all involved in it. So make sure we keep everybody accountable is super important there. And then that takes us to the next part. Whoa, why did it go all the way back there? I don't know. Sorry, guys. There we go. My computer is having some technical issues today. So I apologize. All right, last step in our process is give them the tools they need to be successful. So this is really where we get into the strategies, things we can do, ideas, tips, tricks, all the things. Is we need to fill that toolbox of ours, that teacher toolkit of what are things that we can do, we can use in our classroom that's really going to get our learners communicating in ways that are meaningful, ways that are relevant. So what can we do? What are those cool tools that we can use to help our learners communicate? So here we go. So I kind of decided I would put this into a category kind of based chart for you all. So ways we can stay in the target language, ways we can get them talking, gestures. Some of the time you're going to find, especially with novices, they may not want to talk right away. You may have those kids in your room who are going to sit there. They're not ready to talk, and that is okay. Give gestures. They're still showing you they understand the language, and a gesture is fine when they're a novice and they're learning. If you give them gestures so they can still participate, they're still hearing the language, they're still comprehending. They're just not ready yet to take that risk, to put some words that are different to them out of their mouth. So let them use a gesture to say that they agree, that they disagree, and answer that way. Gesturing is fine at novice level, and that's okay. Okay? Provide them visual supports and things they can use. So chat mats, we're going to dive into those. Those are probably one of my absolute favorite things to use. Word walls, sentence starters, give them verb charts, give them the tools they need so that they can feel successful communicating and generating language on their own. And then useful expressions. So have useful expressions up during whatever lesson or activity you're doing, whether that's projected on your board, or whether they have them in a binder at their table with what they might need. And then anticipate whatever language needs there may be and share that vocab as needed. So if you're doing a certain activity or a certain reading on something, maybe say you're doing a reading about technology and you know your students don't have all the vocab yet they need to talk about this article, give them that support ahead of time so they can talk about it more. Like right now in my classes, all my classes, level 1 all the way up to AP, we are starting Many Musicale, which is March Music Madness. So it's oh my gosh, it's epic. If you all are French teachers and you're not doing it, please, after this webinar, look up Many Musicale. Spanish teachers, you have it as well. German, they have a version as well. It will, the engagement of your students is incredible. So that's just a side note. If you need something to get them talking, music, game changer. Like my novices are going nuts talking about songs now. Did they have all this vocab prior? No. How are they able to do this? Right here, this category, the visual supports, the chat mats. I provide them the word walls and sentence starters. They can tell you right now that I love this song because da 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 da, and this singer is better than this. I mean, they're level 1s. I've had them since September. We're using comparatives, superlatives, all of that just from watching songs and using these visual supports. So they can talk if you provide them the supports they need. So now I'm going to show you what I mean. And I got myself on a rabbit hole with Many Musicale. Okay, so Many Musicale, I'm going to drop it in the chat for you guys, what it's called. There's a Facebook group. So there you go. I'm just going to put it there in the chat. Okay, I'm seeing there's lots of things coming up, so hold on, everybody. Let me try to follow up. Okay. Oh yeah, there's so much extension, Elizabeth, with this or that. Oh my gosh, yes. And then that can lead you to personalized questions. Absolutely. So yes, there's so much you can do with like that, taking it to a PQA, personalized questions and answers from simple things like this. I'm going to show you guys what I do. Some of these. Here we go. So we're going to start with probably, okay, I'm not going to say probably, my favorite way to get them talking. And I have a whole presentation that one of my good friends, Morgan Bennett, and I do on chat mats because we love them that much. So I'm just gonna do a brief chat mat talk because they're amazing. So chat mats, this is just one example. And I start my classes with calendar talk. We always talk about the calendar, the day. That's how we start our morning routine. So we always go over the dates. So this was one from earlier in the school year. It's just, okay, today is, they can tell me yesterday was, tomorrow will be, and what's the weather. Then I'm going to ask some questions like, okay, what did you do? If it's the weekend, we do a weekend chat. So what did you do over the weekend? They tell me. They can do a turn and talk using their chat mat and ask their partner, like, what did you do over the weekend? Oh, I saw this movie, or I went to a Taylor Swift concert. I did this or that. And then you can ask them, again, leveling it up, extending it. Who else did this? Did you like it? Da, da, da. And you keep carrying, they can keep carrying the conversation because they're talking about themselves and things they did. Have I formally introduced these kids to the past tense yet? Nope, but they're using it because they have it on their chat mat. They have that support. So this is just one example of one. Another one that I use with novices a lot is this one as well. It's part of our routine in the morning, like, how are you today? This is one I would use at the very beginning of the year because it's very basic. It's got pictures, it's got the emojis. But then we're at the point now where we can level it up, move to the next level, push them for more language usage, get them talking more. I feel this way because, okay, giving a reason, that's taking us to another level. Because this, maybe because I have a math test, or I'm stressed because I have so much homework, whatever it may be. So chat mats are just supports. I'm going to show you all, kind of going more to chat mats a little. Let me move my Zoom bar. There it is. So you all will get this whole presentation as well, all about our chat mats. So I'm just gonna show you some other examples. So for those of you who are who teach Spanish, these are just some examples of some Spanish chat mats on activities, end of the week, my day, my typical day, clothing. And these are from Anchors and Aids. Amy Leonard is amazing. So those are just some Spanish examples. Some more Spanish examples with a weekend chat. And you can create them again according to your needs based on what your class community is like. These are some ones I like to use as well. We have a unit where we talk about our future selves. So my projects for the future, my future plans, giving opinions, ideas, and reactions, super important, especially to extend conversations. Just having those rejoinders they can throw in there to totally actively participate in conversations. Again, Amy Leonard, amazing. Other ones, again, I really like to use doing cultural comparisons. So looking at windows, mirrors, and doors. So comparing ourselves and our communities, how are we similar? How are we different to others and other communities? That one's really, really good, especially for upper levels. Really seeing those differences of where I'm a window, where I'm a mirror, and where a door might be. That one's really, really good. I also, music, as I told you all, that is big right now for me. So there's that one. It's another one of my faves. Glue words, so like little words that can just stick things together, like transition words, little important words that they may forget. That's one everyone has in their binders, just the glue words that they can go back to and look at when and if they need it. And then again, create them for what you might need. These are more of some of my morning routine chats that I have. So this was on, this is around Halloween. So they had this and it was just like, do you celebrate Halloween? What's your costume? Giving them those sentence starters. And then they could go around and talk with different people using that chat mat. And then I can follow up with them and be like, so what are you doing for Halloween? Then someone's like, well, I'm doing da da da, and I'm gonna be this, or my little sister's gonna be a little princess, whatever. Oh, and where they really talk on this one is the candy debate. Oh my gosh, they will fight over candy, of what candy they love, what candy they hate. And then level it, taking it further. It's my favorite is this because, like, you can't see because I put another one on top of it, but it's like because da da da. And then they can throw in different words. This was one we used around Thanksgiving time, like talking about different foods we might eat, where are you going to celebrate, etc. So again, adjust things to your class community, give them those starters to give as words they may not have, but things they can talk about. I see the chat is lighting up, so let me see what's going on. Okay, okay, yeah, let me, oh, thank you all, thank you all, thank you all. Lots of thank yous, okay. And then if you want, you can also gamify the chat mats too. So you can literally, if you don't want to just do a standard weekend chat, like with the week, let me go back to my weekend chat one. Go backwards. Okay, so weekend chat over here, you can use this one. You could gamify it and say, okay, you're going to roll a dice. And, or you can do it with dice rolling and have them answer questions. You could do it 3 truths and a lie, which is the one I like to do a lot to get them talking. So, okay, use the chat mat. Tell me 3 things you did and 1 thing that's a lie. And then they have to go around asking their classmates, oh, what did you do? And they'll say, I went to the movies, I went to the mall, I went out to eat, and maybe I met Taylor Swift. And then the other partner has to guess like, oh, which one's true? Or like, what's the truth? Like, guess the lie. And then at the end, they'll reveal. And if you get points, basically, if you get the person's lie, if you can catch the lie, then they get points. So gamify it. It makes it fun. And they are willing to do it and talk. If it's a game, they will talk. So those are different ways you can do chat mats. It's just some, let me see. Oh, you can do chat mats. You can do it in pairs. You can do it whole class. Yeah, so they're not chatting in English. Nope, it's all chatting in target language. Usually what I do to start is that they turn and talk to their partner who's sitting next to them. So just to their partner at their table. And then I might tell them, okay, now that you've talked to your partner, you go and you find another partner, or it can be you just tell them you're talking to one person for 2 minutes today. Again, that's your choice. You know your community best. So these are just some examples of the chat mats. There's some more. And again, some ideas of how we can use it. And that's my bestie, Morgan. So we usually share this together, but how can we use them? Inner circle, outer circle chat. So 2 circles and you have them rotating in a circle. You could do it as a gallery walk style. You could do quiz trades. You could do interviews. You can do it as a video or a short story and they have access to their chat mat to help them. They could describe a character from a novel you're reading and you give them a chat mat to help describe special events or seasons. So for us, we both do calendar talks. So we incorporate those special events into our calendar talks. So literally your possibilities are endless in using chat mats. Any way you want to get on talking. Okay, some of these are free that we have made ourselves. Some of these we have bought from other teachers who create them. But you can find them, and this slide deck has resources of where to find different ones. And I can also, I believe I've linked it in this one, the resource for how to make your own. I would recommend Canva. That is our go-to for making them, is using Canva. But they are readily available. Okay, quiz trade, great question. So quiz trade is they'll have a paper It has questions. They ask, one student asks the question. That's quiz 1. The other one asks. They write down the answer. Bam. So you do it twice. You speak with 2 people, 2 pairs, and then you trade off your paper to someone else. So quiz, trade. There's all kind of variations on it. Joshua Cabral does a lot. He actually has a whole podcast episode all on quiz, all on quiz, trade. QQT also is what you'll hear it as sometimes. So that's just another strategy. And then if we were here live, like in person, we would actually have you guys play a little game with us, but we're not here live. So, but this is a fun game that we use, but we use this one in our target language. It's like, what if I forget a word? So how to do circumlocution. And we do this in our chat, like in our classes, which is one I'm going to talk about. And we play the what is it chat mat, which they have it in French and Spanish and German. And their goal is trying to figure out what word we're thinking of. And they ask questions like, what does it do? Is it a this? Is it a that? And they say the word in target language. Is it da, da, da? Is it big? Is it small? So showing the kids how, even if they don't know the word, they can still get around in language they know to try to figure it out. So it's like, use little words to try to get to a bigger word. So that's one way. So I'm going to hop out of chat mats back here into this one, maybe. Here it comes. So when you get the resources, literally, you're going to get them as a Canva. You just have to hover around and things are hyperlinked as we go. So chat mats are amazing. They're game changer. I have them for every single unit I teach for every single level. So I have them for level 1 through AP, all kinds of chat mats. Some are literally just the picture and then the word in the target language. Some for novices, I will have English on them, but usually it's just the picture and the word. And if you need, like, I create in Canva, you can also use another great site is Flat Icon, and I will put that in the chat for you. So either Flat Icon is great for getting images, or Canva are my go-tos for creating the chat mats. So that is chat mats. That's probably my favorite strategy to get them speaking, and probably also is my students' favorite way to have those supports. Like, they will ask, are we getting a chat mat for this unit? Yes, you are. And they love them. My admin have praised me on using chat mats. They actually have me presenting to the entire faculty about chat mats next month because they want our other teachers to use them in other content areas, because they see how that would be beneficial to help students. Especially, we do have a population of English language learners in our school, and they feel that can help them as well to be able to connect with content. So chat mats are amazing. And we're gonna move us right. Whoa, why did it move us all the way back? I am so sorry. Silly thing. There it goes. Okay, another thing with chat mats, in addition to chat mats, this is a picture of my actual classroom. Oh yes, oh my gosh. Adriana, do this in your immersion. Yes, they will love the chat mats. Oh my gosh, yes. Chat mats are a game changer. So this is my room. On their desk, those are some chat mats that they're actually going to pick up. Like, when they come in, there's different chat mats sitting there. Also, what I put is the word walls. Okay, so word walls are all around my room. You can't see the other side of my room, but there's word walls over there too. And there's word walls all over my windows. Do these ever come down? No. They stay up during tests, assessments. They are always up and available. I will say that again. These never come down. They are always up and available. You're going to be like, but aren't they going to? Yes, they use them during assessments. Is that a problem for me? No. Because if they don't know what those words mean, it's still not going to help them. If they don't know how to actually formulate a sentence and use what's up there, it's not going to help them. but it will help those who know what they are, who know how to use them, who may just need a little reminder of maybe a rejoinder, a connector word, a transition statement. It's there as a support. Like over on the windows, it's your most common verbs. This far corner is the super 16, like the most frequent 16 verbs conjugated in present tense. They have their subject pronouns. They've got, these are connector words, adjectives and adverbs. These are prepositions. These are frequent words that they may use, frequent expressions. The other side is words that pertain to the unit that we are in. Okay, no, guess what, Marcia? I have a solution for you. If you don't have your own classroom, you can make them as posters and put them up on a board with magnets. Anyone can use word walls. Anybody can have them. You can make them as poster size in Canva, have them printed, and slap them up when you're in there. Put them up on something. Or I've seen other teachers who take them and they have them on like a flip chart and they just set it up as they need them. Or instead of placing them around the classroom, you could also have them to where your students have them in their binders and tell them, pull out your word wall and have it like on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper for them. So yes, they work. There's ways you can go around it without having them posted everywhere. I am very lucky to have my own classroom. I will say that. Yeah, just try it. Maybe having the kids have it in their binders then as a way that they can do it. Or ask the teachers whose room you share if you could possibly just put something up in there if it wouldn't bother them. But I mean, always ask first just to make sure. But word walls, super helpful. It's going to help them in conversation. If they have that little lapse of, I forgot a word, or how do I say that again? It's there. My kids also, they get a page, they call it, they're like, it's their green, they just call it the green sheet. Because it is like common words, phrases, things they may need when they get stuck in conversation. I haven't come up with a great name for it yet, but it's got everything they might ever need to ask all on one page with phonetics to help them. So they just go to their green sheet, they like clutch it like it's so important to them. And they use that as a reference page all the time. I can probably link it somewhere in here. I just don't know what I'm going to call it, but I can put it in there for you all. It's the green sheet. Okay, so let's go from word walls. Whoa, circumlocution. Okay, so circumlocution is another thing I teach my students, which is if I don't know the word for it, how can I go around it and still describe what I'm saying in words that I know? So this is a super fun activity. I do this with novices all the way up to advanced learners, because sometimes even those advanced learners, they're like, I know what it is, but I don't know this word for it. They're like, how do I say this? I'm like, I'm not going to be there when you're taking like your AP exam and you don't have a dictionary that you can just go and look it up. So let's think of another word that might mean the same thing or a way that you can describe it to still get that meaning. So this is like a fun activity I do with them. Just kind of a list of useful phrases for circumlocution. And this is in French, but you could easily take this and you could put this into your own language, just kind of it is, it's when, it's made of, it's it's the process of, it's the thing that, etc. And then what I have them do, and we do this as a game, because as those of you who were with me the last time know, I love to gamify everything. So we turn this into a speaking game. And what they get is they get a list of items in English. Yes, I give them to them in English because sometimes if I would just give them this list in French, they might not know what some of these things are. So I give them things in French, in English, that they are now going to have to describe without saying the word in French to their partner or their team. So they might have to say, okay, describe a vegetable peeler. And they're like, it's a thing. They could go back and be like, it is a thing that you use to Or they can pick it's an object that you use in the kitchen. It is small, and then they start trying to guess the word. So it's like you kind of, I call it like, what's the word? Is the name you could call the game, but literally what you're doing is you're practicing circumlocution in a fun way, and it gets them talking. And sometimes it's really funny when they don't even know how to describe something like an answering machine, because they don't know what that is, because those really weren't around. So you could change it to voicemail if you wanted. So you can change your list to whatever you want it to be and have them practice this as ways to use vocab they know to try to say a word that they don't know. So super fun. Oh my gosh, yeah, this game is so fun. Like if we were in person, I would have you all playing this live right now, and oh, it's so fun. Like I love teaching them ways to circumlocute. So yeah, feel free. You'll have access to these slides, so you could take and put different items. And I tell them the team that can get the most is the winner. So super fun. And then just take the prior slide and you can translate that into your own language. Hey, if you're a French teacher, you've already got it there. But if you're any other language, just put it in your own language and try it with your kids. So these are some tips. I'm going to pause and see if there are any other questions before I show you how we can use this as school to also get our students speaking. So if there's any questions on anything, go ahead, y'all can drop them in chat and I'll check and see if anything's there. Awesome. I'm not seeing any questions for the moment. Cool. So for those of you who don't use This is School, or if you use it and you've never used this feature, like, oh my gosh, y'all, this is a game changer. So originally there was just listening activities with This is School, but then they decided let's add in a speaking component. So I absolutely love using this feature with my students. Love it. So I did some screenshots of it so you all could see it, because I didn't want, my computer's been really glitchy this morning, so I didn't want to just doing it live. But you can go in once you're in the platform and you can choose the speaking tile. And there it's, you get your option. Do you want to create your own question, or do you want to search from their question bank? And there are tons of options. So I just decided for you all, I would show you friends and family, because that's a pretty basic topic and that's something a lot of our students talk about anyway. So I chose your family. And when you click it, it comes up with pre-populated questions. So it's like, okay, what did you recently do with your family? Talk to me about your family. Do you get along with your family? Why or why not? Describe your best friend's parents. How many people are in your family? And then there's a whole bunch more options. And literally every one of these categories up here, like describing people, your friends, birthdays, those all have questions that go with them. So I decided I would pick talk to me about your family. So here is the question. You get the assign button, but here's where the magic happens. Before you even ask your students to talk about it, you can choose up to 3 example videos that they can watch so they can get an idea of, ooh, I don't know what I might say. Let's watch some videos to get some ideas or to see what good responses might look like. So you can pick, and again, the beauty is here, the stars, and you can't see these ones on the bottom, but they tell you roughly what level it's at. So this one's a 1, this one's a 1, this one was also a 1, this one was a 2. So then you pick your videos, you hit assign, and you can watch them before you pick them. Then it'll set up assigning it. So you can pick, okay, what class am I going to give this to? When do I want it to be available? How long should their response be? Like, what's the maximum time? Then those videos would show up there. And the beauty that I love, you have your grading rubrics right there. And they have a general one that This is School has, but you can also go to the drop down here, and they have them for certain districts and schools that use it, that have submitted their rubrics. So my counties is there, and I can just pull in my county's speaking rubric, drop it in, and I can grade them right there on the spot. So then I set that all up. And then this is what it would look like on the student side. So they've watched those 3 videos. Now they have 20 seconds, which is not that much time, but I was just doing a demo that they could answer this question. They hit the start button, they record, and it uploads their audio that now you've got an interpersonal speaking assessment or presentational speaking assessment, depending on how you want to classify it, as one that's done with your students where they've watched these example videos, and then you easily have it in one platform with a rubric right there, and you can give your kiddos feedback with it right there on the spot. So it's a beautiful tool. A variety of topics are already there for you, or you can simply just create your own topic and have fun with it. Okay, and Jess, there's some specific This Is School questions about UK in the chat if you want to grab those. And I will take us through here, but this is just an example one, and my kids love it, so they have fun recording with it, because when it's actually live, this head is like bobbing and moving around, and it's different heads that pop up each time, so they're always intrigued. So I'm going to pause there and see what questions you all might have about anything speaking wise. Yeah, it's super cool. And remember, does it link to your LMS? No, it does not. At least it does not to mine. Okay, let me see. Okay, any ideas that you could do with their, oh, so with their responses once they answer that question, like, could you clarify what you mean, Gisela? Like, what do I do? Usually I use this as an assessment. But I mean, if you wanted to share them out loud, like you could turn it into, I could gamify their responses for some of them if I really wanted to and make it as like a guess who, or turn them into a reading once I take their transcripts, and then you could turn it into a reading activity. Okay, so what I have them do, Lee, for recording is they're either recording at home or they're going out. I do it as stations in my classroom, so there wouldn't be like 25 kids recording at once. There might be like 5 of them at that station. And they can also go out in my hallway and record there. So yeah, background noise doesn't become an issue then. You could have them listen to their classmates if you want, like as a follow-up. If you would want to do that, you could. Yes, you will get a copy of the slides, absolutely. Okay, let me see. Stations. Yeah, stations are awesome. We will work on finding you that link. Gotcha. Oh, yeah. Flip. Yep. I do flip as well, but if I want them to see like examples of possible answers of how they may answer it, then I use the recording tool here in This Is School. Because with flip, I'm like, they're not going to really see an example prior. But with this, I like the beauty that they can see someone else talking about that same topic to kind of give them ideas that they could be like, oh yeah, or you can pick one that's more of an opinion. Like with my upper level students, I kind of look for ones that are going to be based on more of opinion, like what is the role of technology, or do you think social media affects, like what are the effects of social media, and do you agree or disagree with this, things like that. And then they're hearing other people's opinions, which then help them form their own opinions. And it's nice because who they're hearing from are francophone teens and young adults, and they're hearing like that perspective, which may be different than their cultural perspective of an American teenager. So hearing that is really beneficial for them as well, like the other perspectives. Yes, Flip took away the rubric feature. Yes, they did, sadly. Oh yes, I like putting them in here because there's the rubric. Okay, chat mats, no, they are not part of This Is School. Chat mats is a thing that I do on my own as a support and a scaffold, and it's a great strategy to use them to help your students speak more confidently about tools. Other questions, anybody? Yeah, Many Musicale is fabulous. So yeah, I just happened to throw that in there, and There are lots of cool topics about music in This Is School too that you could tie in with Many Musical, or in Spanish. I don't want to butcher the Spanish, but they have one like for Spanish, Lorca de Marzo, something like that. And German has one, and I am not even going to try to speak German in front of you all. I don't want to, no. But German has one because my German teacher does it. So if you teach French, Spanish, or German, they exist. Just look for them on social media or email me and I can tell you. Manny Musical is not part of This Is School. However, This Is School has lots of topics on music that you can show your kids videos, like talking about going to concerts, what kind of music they like, etc. So there's lots of music related supports within This Is School that you could use. It is under the leisure, you could do it with speaking, or you can do it with the authentic video, listening videos. It's under, I want to say, the leisure category topic, or just simply search music when you get in it, and you can talk and you'll see videos related to music. All right, something in Q&A. Don't worry, Anna, we'll give you the recording, so don't worry, we gotcha. Any other questions? And remember, you can access your trial to This Is School at any time, that 2-week trial. And then hopefully your district will buy it for you because it is well worth the investment. So any questions you may have about speaking or about what's coming up, feel free to ask. All right, see some stuff coming up. Yep, IB rubrics are there too. Yep. I didn't know you taught IB, Tamara. I had no idea. My school is literally starting IB next year. So yeah, they've got all the rubrics are there. So it's lovely. And if your rubric is not there, you can simply email them. I would love to collaborate with your school. Oh my gosh, yes. Email me, please. All right, so let's see. Okay. Pronouncing when speaking, I would say doing it in class, like you could, little tips that I would say. Watching the videos on This Is School, because then they're hearing from native speakers and it's authentic and it's real. A lot before, what I would also say is before you have your students speak, make sure they've got lots of input prior to speaking, meaning they've heard from you, they've read, they've listened, and then the last thing we are going to do is speak and write. So make sure they get lots and lots of input before we ask them for any output. All right. Other questions? Anybody? Feel free. Oop, okay, I see y'all are dropping. Okay, if there are no other questions, I'm going to put us to our last slide. Oops, there we go. And if I'm not seeing any more, remember you can sign up for the webinars using the QR code down here, or just go to thisisschool.com/webinars because we will have our final webinar next Saturday, so in 1 week. And we're going to literally be putting everything back together. So we'll be linking all the modes. So the speaking, the reading, the writing, everything we do, the interpretive, the interpersonal, and the presentational mode, basically everything we've done the past 3 weeks, how does it all come together? So that is next time. Don't forget to also sign up for your free trial if you're not already a This Is School subscriber, which is at thisisschool.com/trial. And if you guys need to reach out to me, I can put my email in chat for you all as well. So my email is in the chat. And connect with me there, connect with me on social. If there's any way that I can help your school or your department, let me know. You can start now, Janet. Like literally you can take these strategies and start some of them now and then just build on them for the next school year. Like you could introduce a chat mat this week and then just start using them. Like there's so many of them out there that are already made. Or I'll make sure I link that template for one. Oh, thank you, Rebecca. Oh my gosh, y'all. And y'all didn't even know this. I didn't tell you. I'm like fighting through one of the worst sinus headaches ever doing this. So if I seemed a little off today, that is why. But I was going to power through it very well. Yes, chat mats, amazing. Yes, tell your school to get This Is School. And it has been a game changer. I've been using it since I was even out in my old small rural district. And I begged and pleaded for them to get it for us, and they did. And then when I found out my new district that I'm at has it, I was like, oh my gosh, because I really did not know what I was going to do if we didn't have it, because it's a lifesaver, especially when I'm out. Oh, thank you for saying I didn't seem off. I felt off, y'all. Like it's been a lot of brain fog, so, but I'm pulling it through for y'all. But anything y'all need, just tell me. I'm happy to help, happy to present to your districts, whatever you need. Share freely. It's what I do. You are so welcome. Yeah, calendar talks are awesome. And if you need more ideas for those, happy to share. And I can point you in directions if you're not a French teacher, of other teachers who have amazing calendar talk resources. Like Claudia Elliott comes to mind as well for great resources for calendar talk. She has them done every month for Spanish teachers. Hers are probably my favorite. Cecile Lene has great ones for French as well. I can like throw out tons of names to you all. For German, I would say Ben Fisher Rodriguez is amazing. Claudia Elliott. And she's on social as Claudia M. Elliott, I believe. Or search for Growing with Proficiency, the podcast. That's what I listen to on my drives into work. Let me know if y'all have any other questions, because I can stick around for questions. Oh, thank you, all you all who are Familia Loca members. I love you all so much. Everyone who gave up part of your Saturday morning, or if you're in the UK, your Saturday afternoon, where you all could be out doing other things to learn about language, which makes you an awesome teacher, for giving up Saturdays to hang out with us. Oh my gosh, Janet, just please email me and I will gladly give you stuff for Mini Musical. Like I will make sure you get all the things. Like email me, because I'm part of the team that organizes Manny. So I run like the Flipgrid part of Manny. So I will gladly, there's a whole Google Drive of resources that we give people. So just email me. Any questions y'all have, like seriously, just email. I may not answer them all this weekend because I am taking a cookie decorating class tomorrow. I'm going to be decorating Taylor Swift cookies. Yay. You're welcome. Thank you, Cerise. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you all. I so appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, I will put them on social media. Yes, the Swifty cookies will go on social tomorrow. I do share my cookie decorating out on my social media. Like my one non-teaching thing I put on there. Because the students like seeing pictures and then we talk about them. Oh, you're so welcome, Gisela. You are so welcome, everybody. Thank you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you have no other questions, y'all are free to go enjoy your Saturdays. Oh, merci, Nathalie. Oh my gosh, y'all. Merci, merci. Oh, the presentation should come to your email, Natalie, like the slideshow, and then play around in it because it's going to be a Canva. So literally you're gonna just like hover, it's different than a Google Slides. You're gonna hover over and you'll find hotspots and then things will open to other windows this time. So I decided to try playing in Canva this time. I was like, wanted something different for a change. You're so welcome, everybody.
What I'll do as well, Heidi, because the final session will obviously kind of combine everything, I'll make
Yes.
sure everybody gets the recordings from the previous sessions as well,
Yeah.
because then it will be a really nice way to hopefully
Yeah.
you can all join us next Saturday as well. And we can tie it all off together. And yeah, just see what we can do. And I think it's been so nice having everybody here. Like you say, thank you again to everybody for tuning in. And hopefully you can all take some time to explore this at school. And as I believe it was a direct message, but Janet was asking about kind of direct demonstrations for her colleagues, and absolutely that is something we're more than happy to do. So feel free to request a trial and specify that you've been on this webinar, and I'm happy to speak to the team and make sure you get a proper deep dive, and we can focus on speaking, we can focus on whatever it is that you need, and take a look at how we can help you. You're very welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you again, everybody. And we can't wait to see you all next Saturday, where we put it all together.
I'll make sure everybody gets a link to the RSVP as well. You will be able to find it on our website, but I will also make sure you get a direct link so you can RSVP and obviously share with any colleagues that you think might be interested as well, because everybody's welcome. This is entirely free. This is absolutely just to help everybody you know, level up their lessons and make sure they have the support, and we want to make sure that we're part of that community as well. So
absolutely. And you guys will try, I'm going to try to make it more interactive, and Jess, I'll talk to you about this later because I have an idea for next time. But I think we can make it work. I'm pretty sure. All right, friends. Thank you all again. Thank you. Yes. Yes. So thank you, everybody. And I'm going to stop sharing and y'all go enjoy your Saturday.